Indicators of disinterest, IODs. Similarly, there are IODs. Here are a few examples of these. Avoidance. She avoids eye contact. She avoids your calls. She avoids you in general. If she can pretend that she didn't hear what you just said, she will. She won't contribute to the conversation. She gets impatient easily. She walks away or looks away. She leans away, turns her back, or talks to someone else. She is non-responsive, or she repetitively says, "uh-huh," instead of giving you a real response. She won't move with you even 2 feet away. She won't invest. Practicing A1 and A2 will develop the skill set to get IOIs instead of IODs. The path to mastery is not found by telling a hot woman that she is hot, offering to buy her a drink, being too persistent, or asking her lots of questions. Instead, practice A1, be indirect and non-needy, and practice A2, stagger negs with demonstrations of higher value. Voila! IOIs. For those who have seen the movie The Tao of Steve, A1 and A2 correspond to the first 2 rules in the movie. Be desireless and be excellent. Neg theory. Beautiful women, 9s and 10s, endure a daily stream of awkward moments when otherwise harmless guys say, "Where are you from? What's your name?" and "You're beautiful." Many women have developed the ability to make these guys go away by being a bitch, and it works. Are beautiful women really bitches? Doubtful. The truth is, many of my girlfriends were both beautiful and warm. Once I worked through their initial defenses with the judicious use of negs. If a woman doesn't develop strategies for quickly dismissing this daily barrage of bore, she'll find herself trapped in conversations with just about anyone, even those with little survival and replication value. After all, until you DHV, you can't expect a girl to feel you have any value anyway. Remember, you must first create a social opportunity to DHV before judgment can be made by your target. Women who are 9s and 10s find themselves saying no to men with such regularity that when they finally meet a man who has legitimate value for them, they may, on reflex, respond abrasively. There is a silver lining to this dark cloud, however. Hot women say no so often that when they do meet someone they deem to have high value, yes means yes. Finally. In today's social environment, beautiful women have to become very good at brushing off men. After all, they're not going to sleep with every one of the men. They may say no, act annoyed, or use some other shielding mechanism. Many poor guys are left walking off angry and feeling like a failure, thinking a woman is a bitch for rejecting them harshly. If a woman accepts a beer from you when you have just met, the underlying social dynamic translates to, "I don't know you and I don't care about you. You are just another one of those typical guys, and since I don't respect you, I'll take that beer before I snub you." Her train of thought reads, "If the guys are stupid enough to buy me drinks, I'm smart enough to take them." Hot girls are good at snubbing your approach. You will have to learn how to snub them back. Now, that doesn't mean you should insult them. They are accustomed to the men they've hurt saying, "You are nothing but a bitch." So how do you snub a hot girl back without insulting her? Let's imagine for a moment that a girl has long nails, which in today's society are often acrylic. The Venusian artist approaches and says, "Nice nails. Are they real?" She will have to concede they aren't. Like he didn't notice the question was a put-down, he says, "Oh," pause. "Well, I guess they still look good." He then casually turns his back to her for a moment. What does this do to her? Immediately she will feel like she just lost value in his eyes. But he didn't treat her like shit by insulting her. That only would have made her defend herself with more snubs or walk away. Instead, he complimented her, but the result was to target her insecurity. Her train of thought reads, "I'm beautiful, but I didn't win this guy over. Why not? I'm so good at this. I'll just fix his perception of me. Everyone wants me." He continues to show a lack of interest in her looks and initiates a neutral topic. During this time, her intention is to get him to conform so she can feel in control. Once revalidated, she can shut him down and move on. Before this can happen, though, he gives her another neg. "Is that a hairpiece? Well, it's nice. This hairstyle should be called the waffle." He smiles playfully and stacks to another routine. He is pleasant, but uninterested in her beauty. This intrigues her, because she knows how most men behave, and this isn't normal for her. This man must be used to girls, or married, pre-selected, or something. These questions make her curious. She gives him little negs, which she uses to test for congruence. He passes these by lightly negging her back. He pauses in a story to say, "Ah, that's so funny. Your nose wiggles when you speak. Look, there it goes again. Ha!" She blushes. Now she is self-conscious, and this is where he wants her. He has, with only 3 negs, successfully created interest and removed her from her pedestal, thereby circumventing her protection shield and buying himself more time to DHV. Neg, Canadian. Verb, noun. A statement or action made to briefly and without insult disqualify oneself from being perceived as a potential suitor. Usage: to neg someone, to be negged, to throw negs, to master negging. A neg is not an insult, but a negative social value judgment that is telegraphed. It's the same as if you pulled out a tissue and blew your nose. There's nothing insulting about blowing your nose. You haven't explicitly rejected her. But at the same time, she will feel that you aren't even trying to impress her. This makes her curious as to why, and makes you a challenge. Examples: "Too bad I'm gay. Where's your off button?" "No touchy. I've eaten girls like you for breakfast." Generally, I found the better looking the woman, the more aggressive your negs will need to be. A 10 may get 3 negs up front in quick succession just for being beautiful, while an 8 gets only 1 or 2. You can go overboard if she thinks you think you are better than her, which happens more often than you'd expect. Not only is it cruel to drop a woman's self-esteem out from under her, regardless of the fact that most 10s will readily do this to guys, but not too surprisingly, it doesn't get you the girl. Get as close to the breaking point as you can without crossing the line. When you reach the point where she is about to retaliate, start appreciating things about her, but not her looks. Mutual respect has formed, and respect is something men rarely get from a girl in the field. If you do accidentally offend her completely, and she complains about your behavior, this isn't recommended, but it also doesn't necessarily preclude you from mating. Allow her to vent her emotions by voicing her opinion of you entirely first. Then say, "I'm monumentally sorry. I didn't mean to step over your boundaries. I merely intended to find them. Now that I know where they are, I promise I will not cross them again. I'm sorry." From there, the game is on. Hot girls can be opened with a neg. Pepper 3 of them into 2 to 3 minutes of neutral chat, and once the protection shield is removed, you can, from a place of mutual respect, build comfort with the girl. Here are some examples of effective negs. Mystery: "I don't think we should get to know each other." Girl: "Why not?" Mystery: "You're just too much of a nice girl for me." If your target says something rude, say, "You don't get out much, do you?" If your target interrupts you, say, "Hello, I'm talking. Cheese." Or, "Excuse me, may I finish my sentence first?" You then say to others in the group, "Is she always like that?" and roll your eyes playfully. If you are asking a question to two women and the target answers, you say, "I didn't ask you." If you pull out your photos for the photo routine, first show them to the obstacle. When the target tries to see them, say, "Excuse me, I'm showing her the pictures, not you. Wait your turn. Jeez." If a girl kisses you on the cheek and goes to kiss your other cheek, tell her, "Only one, don't be greedy." If she says, "Yes, but I'm French," you reply, "Are all French girls as greedy as you?" "That's a nice hairstyle. Is that your real hair?" Smile and look at her to show her you're being sincere and not insulting. Her, "Oh, I'm a model." You, "What, like a hand model?" "Ooh, your palms are sweaty. Ooh. Where have your hands been?" "No, don't tell me. I don't want to know." "You've got something in your ear." You, "Watch this. Here, pull my finger. This is good." Your target pulls your finger. Make a fart sound with your lips. "Wow, you actually pulled my finger. Ah!" "No, just kidding. Here, really, pull on my finger. No, honest, this is good. Trust me." She pulls it again. Fart sound again. "Oh, man, that's twice. I can't believe you." "My niece is 6 and doesn't fall for that shit anymore. How old are you?" You may decide to say, "Ah, I'm just kidding. Here, really, I'll show you some magic. Look at this. My hand is empty, right? Okay, really, pull my finger. No, really, I promise I won't fart again. Serious, I swear to you. Magician's honor. No, swear. I promise I won't." She pulls your finger. "Oh, my God. You can get talked into anything." "I like that dress. I remember seeing you at a club before, and you were wearing the same dress. It's nice, though." "My, you come on strong. That isn't till later in the relationship." "Very good. That is a little test I do to see if you have any free thoughts of your own, or just believe everything you hear." "Wow, you really wrecked a moment. Your ex-boyfriends must have really hated that about you." Her, "I'm a model." You, "Do a lot of people ask you if you are a model?" Her, "Yes, all the time." You, "I think they were just being polite." "I just noticed your nose wiggles when you speak. It's so cute." Point and say, "Look, there it goes again. You're like Samantha from Bewitched, but only when you speak." You, take a stick of gum out and offer it to the target. Her, "No thanks, I'm drinking beer." You, "I know. Take the gum." If she's older. If your target says, "You are so young," this is an IOI. Don't excuse yourself for being young like chumps do. Only someone trying to get the girl would do that. Simply reply cynically, "Yeah, I've noticed. Poor you." Remember to convey your playful, teasing attitude. Take a quiet moment to get over this age thing. I'll wait. Types of negs. Shotgun neg. These are statements such as, "Wow, she poops words," and "Where's her off button?" You can use these on the target in a group to convey lack of interest romantically. A neg is, in fact, an IOD. Of course, it's not that you dislike her, not at all. It's just that you hadn't considered her a romantic interest. This IOD diminishes her sexual power over you, while simultaneously disarming her peer group. The shotgun neg is a great social tool, said for the group's benefit. It keeps her friends from thinking you have a sexual motive, and that keeps them from protecting her from you. The power of the shotgun neg is in its apparent sincerity. She'll honestly believe that you aren't trying to impress her. Then she'll wonder, why? Shotgun negs are useful for conveying a non-needy attitude, which is a demonstration of higher value. Thus, in one stroke, you indicate lack of interest, disarm obstacles, and create attraction. Tease neg. Teasing conveys a cocky, playful attitude. It's not perceived as inadvertent, but rather as deliberate flirting, but done properly. Examples of this are, pull my finger. Wow, you fell for it, weirdo. You can dress her up, but you can't take her anywhere. Don't make me come down there, etc. When you call her a knucklehead, your cocky, playful, fun attitude reveals you are confident, unaffected, and in control. Teasing stimulates her emotions and is useful as a DHV during A2. It is directed to either the group as a whole or the target directly. Sniper neg. A sniper neg is used directly on the target, and she is the only one to hear it. Some examples of this are hinting to her that she should immediately wipe her nose, has a crusty eye, has sweaty palms, or just spat on you while talking, and it actually grossed you out. The idea is to make her honestly believe that she has performed a demonstration of lower value, DLV. This makes her self-conscious and creates a situation where she is wondering whether you have a good impression of her. You can follow a sniper neg up by looking away or dropping the conversation for a moment, or some other IOD. Why? Her embarrassment makes her vulnerable to later flattery. By indicating even a slight lack of interest using subtleties in your body language, you can create in her a powerful desire to win your approval and validation. The throw and go rule. Toss your neg like a pebble. Before it reaches its destination, turn your head away and continue the conversation with the group in a throw-and-go fashion. As far as she can tell, it's not something that you're still thinking about or gave much thought to in the first place. As you weave together the multiple threads of your conversation, occasionally the time will come to calibrate and throw a neg. When this happens, it's important that your target doesn't see you watching for her reaction. If you are trying to get a reaction out of her, she won't perceive the neg as genuine and inadvertent, and thus it won't work. Furthermore, reaction-seeking behavior is a DLV. DHV. Anything you can do that conveys higher S&R value is a DHV. For example, if you open a set and already have 2 girls with you, you have demonstrated pre-selection, which is a DHV. When girls see that other girls have pre-selected you, they feel attracted to you as a result. If a woman discovers that you have a lot of money, it is a DHV. A rich man may mean a rich lifestyle for her, and she is hardwired to improve her chances of survival and replication by aligning with those who can help her. She will find you more attractive. If she perceives that you are trying to impress her with your money, though, she will then lose attraction. This is because only lower-value people try to impress. Such behavior is considered DLV. If you are trying to impress, you must be of lower status, and thus unattractive. If a woman sees that you have a lot of social proof from gaming the room, she will feel more attracted to you. Social proof is a DHV. If, however, she sees that you are socially unaware and inept, then it is a DLV. When you DLV, it lowers her perception of your S&R value, which makes her feel emotionally less attracted. Telling stories that are fun, interesting, and emotionally relevant demonstrates social skill, which is a DHV. A story can also be structured to convey specific characteristics in the subtext, allowing you to surreptitiously flip attraction switches. Negging is also a DHV, because only a high-value male would talk to her like that and seem sincerely uninterested. Examples of DHVs. Pre-selection from other women. Appearing to be a leader of men. Being supporter and protector of those you love. Being non-needy. Being unaffected. Social intelligence. Negging her. This IOD is a DHV also. Having a strong frame. Having interesting knowledge. Emotional stimulation. Being socially in demand. Other people are seeking your attention or validation. Alternately, they are paying attention to what you are saying. Connecting conversationally. Group theory. Women of quality tend to be found in groups, and rarely, if ever, alone. When girls get together, they engage in a groupthink mentality. This groupthink is due to the same psychological mechanism that causes pre-selection. Girls look to one another to validate their choices and feelings. They will touch one another, hold hands, whisper things, move around the venue together, go to the bathroom together, rescue one another from aggressive guys or nice guy losers, and generally take care of one another. Often, the nice guy waits for the girl to leave her group so that he can catch her alone and hit on her. But in the mystery method, we approach the group itself. Women tend to be attracted to the highest value man in their social context. Could it be possible to take over her group and become the highest value man in it? Once the set is open, you disarm the friends with stories, humor, and other DHVs. You're interesting, fun, and emotionally relevant. In fact, you even steal the spotlight away from the hottie, who is the target. You further disarm the friends by negging the target. All those other predatory guys tried to open by giving her IOIs and offering to buy her a drink. They are so transparent. But you negged her, turned your back, and continued telling your story. The friends don't perceive any threat. As you demonstrated a non-insulting indicator of lack of interest, they're disarmed. Unbeknownst to them, the negs have also introduced a tasty sexual tension between you and the target. Because her friends love you, her groupthink mentality now works in your favor. You have the social proof of her peer group. Her self-esteem has been lowered slightly by the negs, and she wants some more attention from you, the life of the party, the guy who just pushed her out of the spotlight of her own circle of friends. She begins to give you IOIs, and she begins to work for your approval and validation. If you can consistently create reactions like this, you have mastered A2. Basic group theory operates on a combination of two DHVs. 1. The social proof that is generated by taking over the group. Personality traits are also demonstrated to the group, and thus obliquely to the target. 2. The ability of the neg not only to convey higher value, but also to simultaneously disarm the obstacles, remove the target's sexual power, and motivate her to chase you to get it back. Multiple conversational threads. During a conversation, especially between people who are already acquainted with one another, various conversational threads will come up. We might talk about the weather, our families, what we did last night, various philosophical topics or current events, etc. As the conversation progresses, certain threads may be revisited or come up periodically. People who are not as well acquainted, however, often find comfort in a thread that has situational relevance, and end up stuck on that one thread until it eventually unravels. Imagine a guy is walking his dog in the park, and he meets a woman doing the same. They strike up a conversation. Man. Oh, hello. Is that a Cocker Spaniel? Woman. No, actually he's a mutt. I got him from the pound a few years ago. How about yours? Man. She's a black lab. I suppose they're getting on rather well then, aren't they? Woman. Yes, they are. Dogs are funny. Man. So, Have you had him for long? Woman. Oh, I don't know, about 3 years. Man. So, what sort of dog food do you feed him? Notice how the man is already grasping for straws. He was successfully interacting with the woman on this dog thread, but he couldn't think of another thread with situational relevance in order to continue the conversation. So he went back to the dog thread again, making it rather obvious that the conversation with the woman was important to him, that he didn't want to screw this up. This is especially telegraphed by his overuse of questions during conversation as well. People who are well acquainted with one another tend to use multiple conversational threads while talking, whereas people who aren't as well acquainted can get stuck on a single thread, followed by a polite end to the conversation. Man. Do you have the time? Woman. Sure, 6:30. Man. Thanks. So, where are you from? If you go further by starting a new thread rather than continuing with a previously opened and paused thread, you telegraph interest and force her to decide prematurely whether or not to bust out her protection shield kung fu, "I have a boyfriend" objection. By introducing multiple conversational threads into your set, you can create a strong feeling of familiarity in the set, as if you are already all old friends. In the early part of a set, when you haven't yet demonstrated much value, girls won't be eager to contribute much effort to continue the interaction. You must be able to contribute 90% of the conversation, or it will die. Over time, as attraction is created, you can then use this attraction to bait the girl into more participation and investment. But even then, you must be leading the interaction and keeping her stimulated. Thus, it's extremely important that you be able to talk, talk, talk. Always have something to talk about. Get into a talkative mood and practice talking to everyone, not just hot girls. Introduce several different routines and jump back and forth between them in a multiple threading fashion instead of running them linearly. Notice how logistical problems seem to disappear when you keep the target's conscious mind occupied with 3 to 5 simultaneous conversational threads. You've always got a thread to go back to, whereas your set can sour quickly when there are too many uncomfortable pauses, or if it suddenly appears like you are grasping at straws to keep the interaction alive. Cutting conversational threads. Sometimes a thread is not useful. A girl may start talking about something that makes her feel bored or sad, or think about her boyfriend back home, etc. For whatever reason, it is more useful to you to end that conversational topic than to continue talking about it. When this happens, simply cut the thread and stack to the next routine. Her. So, every time I hear that song, I think of him. You. Let me see your hands. Begin the Kino kinesthetic test. Just completely cut her thread and replace it with a new thread of your own. Of course, this doesn't mean that you need to become Mr. Interrupt, who refuses to address every issue. Just recognize that when it is useful to you, you can cut a thread, introduce a new thread to replace it, and still stay on track. In fact, not only will it work, but also she will find you more attractive as a result, since it demonstrates that you have a stronger frame. Sometimes it can happen that one of your own threads is not useful anymore. For example, if one of her friends has just joined the set in the middle of your thread, this can be awkward. If you finish the story, the friend will be bored because she has no idea what you're talking about. But if you start over from the beginning, now the target is bored because she has already heard this before, and by the time you get to the end, it has become anticlimactic. To handle this external interrupt, just cut your own thread, disarm the obstacle with a target-bound neg, and introduce a new thread. You. So I'm halfway back to the house, and there's only 3 minutes left, and I notice the can is starting to leak. Her friend arrives, and the girls immediately face each other and start signaling each other. You. Introduce me to your friend. That's the polite thing to do. Brief introductions occur. As you shake her hand, shotgun neg the target one more time to disarm new obstacle. You. New thread addressed to the friend. Do you believe in spells? Okay, get this. Spells routine. Oh, and don't try to go back to your original thread later, unless they press for you to do so. It's try hard. Often, if you do not lead the conversation by actively cutting bad threads and introducing good threads, you delegate this responsibility to the girl. She will allow the conversation to get boring, and then think that you are a boring guy for allowing it to happen. So do it right and make it happen, because she won't. The waypoint. The line, "So how do you all know each other?" is a question that must be asked in every set at some point. Take a moment and recite it a few times. Get used to the statement, because you will be repeating it often. It seems like a harmless, reasonable, sociable question, but it generates conversation and provides the Venusian artist with useful information. For example, if the set consists of 2 girls, and you ask, "So, how do you guys know each other?" It's possible that one of them will say, "Oh, she's my boyfriend's sister." Would this new information possibly change your game plan? I wager so. The important information isn't the existence of a boyfriend. If your game is tight, girls will secretly cheat on their boyfriends without even telling you that he exists. Rather, the important information is that she is probably not going to cheat on her boyfriend in front of his sister who is standing right here. So, how do you all know each other? Might also reveal that the group consists of co-workers, or that the guy you thought was a threat was actually your target's brother. Lucky you were doing the mystery method and befriended him with DHV routines before conveying IOIs to his sister. The moment when you ask this question is the waypoint of the set, and it typically occurs 3 to 5 minutes in. Winging. The wing rules. 1. He who opens the set leads the set. He gets first choice of target. Your wing may open for you. 2. Make your primary purpose as wing to help the pickup artist get his target. If you can also game up your own target from the group, fine, but that is not your first priority. 3. Don't jack the set. Don't ever steal your wing's target. Sometimes the player is ignoring or negging his target while working the group. It would be really easy to go into his set at this point and give attention to the target. Don't. 4. Remember that if the player cannot advance in any way in the set due to Kino lockout, let's just be friends, LJBF, or a general lack of IOIs, the wing may then attempt to recover the set for himself. Debate who decides before you are in field. 5. As a wing, occupy the obstacles so that the player gets more time one-on-one with his target. 6. Always agree with your wing. Never take the girl's side over his. He is always right. 7. Remember, your wing is a great guy, a cool guy. That's why you hang out with him. After all, you have high standards. 8. Keep in mind that your wing's feelings are important to you, even more important than the girl's feelings. If he approaches your set, you will turn to face him. Girls do the same with their friends. If you disrespect your wing, it will lower your value to the girls. Never leave him standing around without acknowledging him or introducing him. Entering a set as a wing. The "were you guys just talking about" gambit. 1. The player has opened a set and has had enough time to pass the social hook point, usually within 3 minutes. The wing approaches the player. 2. Player faces wing and greets him. 3. Player then says, "Hey guys, this is my friend," name. 4. Wing says, "Oh, were you guys just talking about?" 5. Player says, "Yeah, when that girl cast a spell on Aaron." Conversation continues from this point. Wing is now in the set. The accomplishment introduction. Get your wing to introduce you by name and accomplishment. He's the guy who... fill in the blank. This is mystery. He levitated over Niagara Falls. I'd like to introduce you to Glenn. He's the guy they wrote about who hacked into the power grid and turned off California for 6 hours. He dated Miss November. Beautiful. These are accomplishment introductions. If you talk about yourself, it's like tooting your own horn and is try hard. But if your wing does it, it's likely to be believed. All you need is some minor proof. An article photocopied to sign for them, a comp card with your picture on it to leave with them, or a photo of you with a beautiful girl in a bikini. Keep that one for your photo routine. Remember, you don't have to be what you do. You just have to convey an accomplishment. Make it bigger than life. You don't have to lie. Make it true. Be great. The accomplishment intro gambit. 1. The player has opened a set and has had enough time to pass the social hook point. The wing approaches the player. 2. Player faces wing and greets him. 3. Player then says, "Hey guys, this is my friend," name. He's making me a very rich man. Great people. One of the smartest men I know. 4. Wing says, pleasure, then runs the set for a minute. Conversation continues from this point. Wing is now in the set. This is Chuck. He's a broker. Boring. This is Bender. He's the lead singer of this awesome band called Razor. They just got on the charts. Respect. What is your great accomplishment? Write your accomplishment intro for your wing to use. It makes him appear cool, too, hanging with a man of accomplishment. What would you do with your life if you had no chance of failure? What is your dream? What do you honestly want to become? Be great. It's a powerful dynamic when you and your wing can run stories about each other. Storytelling. When you tell a story, it doesn't have to be overtly impressive. In fact, it's better if it's not some amazing story, because you don't want the target to think you're trying to impress her. As long as the story is fun, interesting, and most important, captures the attention of her group, it will work. These sorts of stories are most congruent if they are at least partially true and based on events from your own life. Conveying traits that flip her attraction switches without making it obvious that you're doing so demonstrates higher value and generates attraction. For example, in a story, it's possible to flip both the leader of men and protector of loved ones' attraction switches by congruently adding something like, "So I told him I have no choice. It's my little sister. So he jumps in the car, 'cause, you know, my friends are there for me 100%, and I'm the same way for them. That's just how we are." The preselection switch and others can be similarly flipped also. A helpful hint for telling stories in pickup. The shorter the story, the earlier in set you can use it. Describe in terms of sensation and emotion. When telling stories, men tend to focus on the facts at hand, whereas women look for the sensation and emotion caused by the experience. Structure your language to take this into account. Example. Bad. This guy grabbed my ass. Can you believe that? I looked like an idiot. Good. Then I felt a strong hand caress my ass and grip it tightly. I turned around, and there was this man with a handlebar mustache smiling suggestively at me. All the girls started laughing. I have never felt so surprised and embarrassed in my entire life. Notice how this story segment conveys the emotions of surprise and embarrassment, both of which are useful during a story. 3 or 4 story segments like this put together can lead the listener through a little emotional journey. With skilled delivery, this is a DHV, even if it doesn't reveal some value-raising factoid about your life. Lock in props. While you're in the middle of actively ignoring the target by negging her, she could unexpectedly leave the group. To prevent this, you can lock her in using a prop. For example, put your scarf or hat on her. Or hand her your photos for your photo routine, and ask her to hold them for a second. Now you have her locked in. At some point in the future, you'll be able to continue interacting with her, even if she temporarily wanders off. This also creates trust. By showing that you trust her with your prop, which she could steal, you also build her trust in you. If she starts to get restless, dangle some bait in the form of a useful statement, such as, "I have something really cool I need to show you in just a sec, but before I do," then stack into another routine. Locking in. Imagine a two-set is at the bar. They're chatting, surveying the room, and sipping their drinks. It's not wise to open a set while they are waiting to order drinks. That's a recipe for a constant stream of interrupts in A1 and A2. Wait until the drinks are paid for and served. When you open this set, the girls will have their backs to the bar. They will see the entire room behind you, over your shoulder. but you will see nothing except the bar behind them. There is a slight power differential in your positions. As long as they are comfortable in their spots at the bar, with a superior line of sight, and you are slightly less comfortable standing before them, there will be a leak of social power from you to the set. In other words, you want to take their spot at the bar. The spin maneuver, adapted to steal her spot. I tell a girl, "Go like this." I hold my hand out at chest level, palm down. Does she comply? If so, I can prepare to guide her to where I want her to stand. This is a compliance test. If she defies the test and refuses to cooperate, I didn't have enough interest, in which case I do an IOD, then another DHV, and then offer another compliance test. As I raise her compliance threshold using this process of compliance momentum, I can return to this hand-holding lock-in maneuver, which she will now comply with, and continue from there. If she complies, she will hold her hand out to match mine. I take it and say, "Now do a little spin." This is another compliance test. If she complies, I spin her around. During this, I move her body away from the bar, stepping into her former spot. Now I am leaning against the bar in the power position instead of her, and she is facing me with her back to the room. Not only does it look like I'm with her group and she's gaming me, but the distraction of the crowd around is minimized. The show is on me now. I say, "Yeah, that's your reward, and this is the payment." Ooh, like I just playfully punked her by stealing her chair. She totally fell for it. If I've done it artfully, she'll laugh and punch my arm. I then run another routine to keep her logical mind occupied while continuing to stimulate her and her group. A2. Once you've locked yourself into the set, the perception in the room will shift 180 degrees. Now the girls seem to be all up on you, instead of the other way around. Instead of merely talking to the girls, it looks like you lead them. This psychology also affects the girls themselves. Soon you are leaning back against the bar comfortably, and your target is standing between your legs while you run a keynote test. During A3, always lock into your set at some point, usually 3 to 5 minutes into the set. In this example, lean back against something while the girls face you with their backs to the room, or sit comfortably among them. If it looks like you are gaming them instead of the other way around, you're not locked in yet. The whole room should see you comfortably centered within the group. Adjacent sets will perceive you to have high social value. Role-playing. Playful role-playing builds attraction. Invent some absurd scenario in your head and describe it to the woman. Make sure it's fun and playful, not heavy. Venusian artist. You know what I want to do? You and I are going to go to Greece, and I'll dress you up in a toga, and we'll sell hot dogs at the beach. You run the stand, I'll supervise. Sometimes little bits of material like this are preferable to longer stories. Practice having normal conversations, but then peppering in little bits such as these. Not only is this useful as an attraction tool, but in the comfort phase you may also create a feeling of shared conspiracy. Venusian artist. You know what I want to do with you? I want us to go to the beach together, and you'll wear a nun's outfit, and I'll wear a priest's outfit, and we'll hold hands and make out in front of everybody. False disqualifiers. Using false disqualifiers has a disarming effect while demonstrating value. In fact, false disqualifiers are identical to negs in this regard. These lines demonstrate confidence, fun, a lack of neediness, and a discriminating attitude that says, I'm the one controlling the situation, I'm the one who is the prize, and I'm the one who is screening you to determine whether or not you qualify for my attention. Examples. It would never work out between us. I can already tell you and I are not going to get along. You're fired. You're too much of a nice girl for me. You're a nurse? Oh, my God, I can't even talk to you. I'm totally not boyfriend material. Hey, that guy over there looks perfect for you. We are so broken up. I want my CDs back. If you think telling a girl that you and she would never get along in order to attract her ultimately is counterintuitive, I agree wholeheartedly. Disqualify yourself from being a potential suitor. Then DHV. With experience, these challenging IODs can be powerfully persuasive. The photographic memory DHV. This 5-minute high-octane routine enables you to demonstrate that you possess a photographic memory. Later, you can also teach this routine to the girl. The act of teaching it is a good 15-minute routine in and of itself. In order to perform this routine, you must learn a memory aid known as a mnemonic device. A simple system called the PEG system works amazingly well. First, memorize this rhyme. 1 bun, 2 shoe, 3 tree, 4 door, 5 hive, 6 sticks, 7 heaven, 8 gate, 9 line, 10 hen. Once you've memorized this, you're ready to perform the routine. The effect. Pull out your trusty notepad and pen and write the numbers 1 through 10 on the paper. Tell your new friends in a set, I need to pick your brain for 4.2 seconds. I need a list of 10 random words. They don't have to be hard, they just have to be different. Write down a word next to each number. Let's say, for example, she chooses the words 1 dog, 2 car, 3 water, 4 dancing, 5 marijuana, 6 outer space, 7 ugly, 8 airplane, 9 straitjacket, and 10 CD. After writing them down without another glance at the list, claim to possess a photographic memory. Then recite them forward, backward, and in random order. If she calls out a number, instantly answer with the word associated with that number. She'll think you're a genius. The secret. Memorize the words simply by hanging them on the 10 pegs in your memory. Here's how. Word 1 is dog. The first peg is bun. Form a strange picture in your mind of a furry dog on a hot dog bun, only with a live dog. This is a weird picture that you won't easily forget. In fact, the more absurd and emotionally evocative the visual association, the more memorable it becomes. Later, when she calls out the number 1, it's easy to make the connection in your mind. 1 equals bun equals hot dog bun with furry dog equals the word is dog. Do this with all the words on the list, and you'll be amazed at how vividly your mind stores and recalls information. Another example. Let's say the 4th word she chose was dancing. The 4th peg is door. So picture a ballroom full of dancing doors. Later, when you're trying to remember the 4th word she chose, you'll remember 4 equals door equals dancing doors equals the word is dancing. This same gambit can actually accommodate 10, 20, even 30 more words. For example, let's say she chooses 10 more words for a total of 20. The pegs. Secret. 1 bun, 2 shoe, 3 tree, 4 door, 5 hive, 6 sticks, 7 heaven, 8 gate, 9 line, 10 hen. Chosen words. 1 dog, 2 car, 3 water, 4 dancing, 5 marijuana, 6 outer space, 7 ugly, 8 airplane, 9 straitjacket, 10 CD. Additional words. 11 wind, 12 sailboat, 13 computer, 14 casino, 15 guitar, 16 books, 17 horny, 18 camera, 19 jogging, 20 paperclip. For number 1, you pictured a furry dog on a hot dog bun. For 11, picture the same visual association for 1, only now imagine the dog is being blown around mercilessly in the wind. The image is a furry dog on a bun, then the dog in the bun getting blown over in the wind. Now you can remember that word 1 is dog and word 11 is wind. For word 4, picture a ballroom full of dancing doors. For 14, picture the same thing, except add many casino tables for games such as blackjack and roulette. Make sure the doors bump the blackjack tables after they dance. When stacking words and images across laterally, rely on your brain's natural tendency to remember sequences of action. In this manner, you can continue to add additional lists in groups of 10. Simply memorizing the peg system rhyming scheme once and then practicing the routine several dozen times on random sets prepares you to perform this routine on the fly with any new set of randomly chosen words. Part 2 of this routine is to teach it to the girl. Teach it on day 2 rather than the night you meet her. She'll need a quiet environment, no alcohol, and no interruptions for 15 minutes to learn it from you. I enjoy demonstrating it as an opener, if I'm merging my current set with an adjacent set, using it in A2 to DHV to the group or as a reason to isolate the target. The lock-in prop I hand her right before the isolation, the notepad. Group dynamics. Lead the men, and the women follow. There is safety in numbers, and women of beauty rarely go out alone. If I were to approach only women who were alone, I would drastically limit my options. Single set. Is the target alone? Approaching singles where the target is alone appears deceptively simple compared to approaching groups. But without a group for which to DHV, you're left having to DHV directly to the target. Performed without skill, those DHVs can easily come off as bragging to her. What's more, the single can quickly turn into another set type if her friends arrive. In fact, be prepared for all set types to change abruptly, such as a single turning into a 2-set, or a 2-set turning into a 3-set at any time. But be especially on guard for this with singles. This phenomenon is known as an external interrupt, and you must be dynamic enough to alter your approach when this happens. A single scenario has no obstacles. There she is. Approach her straight out. Don't wait for eye contact. Too needy. Just approach her, and when she looks up at you, look her in the eye and smile. Always smile on the approach. It's less threatening. If you see the girl from a distance, and you've assessed the scenario as a single, you can wait there for her to notice you and then immediately go over. Or you can just go over without waiting. Caution. Do not establish eye contact and then fail to approach, and then think you can use that eye contact later to approach her. If you do this, you have stalled out the set. By breaking the 3-second rule, you risk her thinking you wanted to approach, yet chickened out. It's still possible to win the set, but you're now in damage control mode. Minimize the time between when the girl notices you and when you initiate the chat. Smile and enter using any opener you please. Though you are opening her directly, it's from a screening frame, not a begging frame. You are curious about her and interested to find out more. In a single, the opening statement can be more direct than in another type of set. I wanted to find out if there was more to you than meets the eye. Then stack to another, less direct opener. 2 sets. Is the target with another person? Compared to sets of 3, 4, or more people, the 2-set is a uniquely challenging scenario. Roughly 1/4 of all targets found in field will be in a 2-set. Mark the friend of your target as your obstacle. Only when the obstacle is disarmed will he or she turn into a friend. Don't go straight for the target if she is not alone. If you do, you will alienate her less attractive friend, or worse, her boyfriend, who will then act as a disgruntled guardian of the target and pull her away, or, in the case of the boyfriend, aggressively protect his investment from you, perceiving you as an invader. You must win the obstacle over first. In fact, you can use this opportunity to not make eye contact with the target and actively ignore her. If she doesn't specifically feel ignored and overlooked, she won't feel the desire to engage you. When the target begins to talk, you may immediately neg her. Why in the world would you interrupt your friend like that? Where were we? Oh, yeah. And then go back to your chat with the obstacle. The obstacle will laugh at your light-hearted, non-insulting negs. It will also make your high-value target feel briefly self-conscious. Use a lock-in prop on the target as you continue to talk to the obstacle, allowing the target to listen and receive your DHV spikes. Having been negged, the target will soon attempt to repair her image with you. She will then be chasing you. Continue to pepper negs into your DHVs. Finally, take the time out to pay her some attention in A3. You cannot isolate the target if she is in a two-set, because that would leave the obstacle alone, which is seldom permitted. Nor would you want to isolate the target. As the preceding example demonstrates, the obstacle actually can be turned to your advantage. But don't spend too much time conversing solely with the obstacle. 5 to 8 minutes is usually enough time to disarm and befriend him or her. Spending too much time may make the target believe the obstacle really likes you, prompting her to leave. Once you see that the obstacle likes you, clearly switch